Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm James Milan.
And I'm Carla Dorado. Thanks for joining us. In this edition of APN, police and citizens come together to discuss the hate crimes after racist graffitis were painted on an Arlington home. And Arlington Center gets a boost from the state to make it easier to navigate on foot and bike.
Plus, speaking of walking, the Recreation Department gets in on Pokémon GO with an event to find Pikachu and other characters. We show you where to catch them all next. Stay with us. After weeks of hate incidents around the nation, Arlington can no longer claim to be above the fray.
Over the weekend, a black family's home was vandalized with racist graffiti. 2 swastikas painted on their garage doors. Zach Merchant joins us from the studio with more.
Arlington police are actively investigating the painted swastikas, which they're officially classifying as a hate crime. The community response to this incident and others in recent memory has been strong. Several local organizations released statements, and an Arlington Human Rights Commission meeting that rarely sees more than a few guests was packed with more than 70 on Wednesday. The images themselves were removed by a local painter who refused to accept payment for his service once he learned of the situation. But the town is still grappling with this latest incident as well as others in the recent past. As the Arlington Human Rights Commission Vice Chair noted,
the Black Lives Matter sign at the church has been, over the past several months, repeatedly defaced. Graffiti at Addison Middle School that's been both racist and anti-Semitic, where the swastikas painted on a private residence of a black family in town. That happened over the weekend. We were contacted about a flyer for an event in Cambridge that was blaming Jews for 9/11. There were the alleged racist tweets at Addison that was investigated and closed. Called him the F-slur and assaulted him. And that was investigated. There was no corroborating evidence, and he declined to press charges.
In response, the Arlington Police Department and the Arlington Human Rights Commission issued a joint press release. It read, in part, "As members of the Arlington community, we offer our unconditional support and solidarity to anyone who has been a victim of racism or anti-Semitism. We are greatly disturbed by these recent events, and we assure you that we will not tolerate hateful acts in our town." Spurred to action, residents packed the typically sparsely attended Arlington Human Rights Commission's Wednesday meeting. At it, some felt that the national political climate was to blame for the increase in hate incidents here in Arlington.
It's obvious that this has to do with the political climate of our country and not this particular family, right?
Others felt more dialogue on the topic of race could stem the recent spate of racially charged events.
Well, I may not want to go to somebody's house who has a Confederate flag in their yard. They might feel the same way about my house that has a Black Lives Matter sign because there's not an understanding about why they have that flag and why I have that sign. Mm-hmm. And opening up that dialogue is something that I would really like to see happen.
Many different views were represented at the meeting, but even in the face of these recent events, the majority of meeting attendees felt the need to share their gratitude for living in a community as accepting as Arlington.
We have to say very publicly, this is who we are. We're not this kind of person. We are an inclusive, welcoming community.
Recent events make clear that Arlington's record is less than perfect. What steps the community takes to address this and whether the national political campaign season fuels future hate incidents remains to be seen. Back to you, James and Carla.
You know, there certainly has been a lot of discussion around race and police response to situations that may call for use of force, and Arlington Police have a virtual tool to help them prepare for these situations. Yeah, that's right, Carla. The Middlesex Sheriff's Mobile Training Center allows officers to experience scenarios that call for split-second decision-making. The specially equipped RV provides video training where officers practice responding to hostile situations. Police Chief Fred Ryan credits the training with the department's limited use of force when answering potentially combative calls. Here's more.
I'm here at the Arlington Police Station where members of the press got to witness a demonstration of scenario-based firearms training where police officers have to respond to realistic real-life situations inside this mobile training center. In the mobile training center, police experience simulations of real-life scenarios. They can range from an active shooter to a routine traffic stop. The officer then has to interact with the simulation and use the least amount of force necessary to de-escalate the interaction.
Our officers leave this training with a couple of key concepts in mind. First, verbalization and de-escalation around volatile situations that our officers are cast into, unfortunately on a regular basis, can be extremely important tools to be able to walk away from a scene without having to use lethal force. But more importantly, our officers are leaving this training with the concept in mind that the least amount of force necessary is the most amount of force authorized in any given situation.
The Middlesex County Sheriff's Office purchased the Mobile Training Center in 2010. It's intended to provide officers more realistic, intensive training than they receive at traditional shooting ranges. Chief Ryan says the interactive firearms training is key to the APD's limited use of lethal force in recent years.
As we witness what goes on around the country regarding police use of force, it's simply not what we're experiencing in metropolitan Boston. Our training is sophisticated, it's advanced, and we owe a great debt to the Middlesex County Sheriff for making this training available so as to prevent what's going on we're seeing across America.
Arlington Police Officer Mike Hogan confirms that the Mobile Training Center is so realistic that he experiences an adrenaline rush during training.
It puts you in stressful situations, and you can feel it because you're not expecting what's going to happen. The officers, when they go in there, they haven't seen the scenario before, so you could have somebody that just needs to go to the hospital or somebody that's going to try to assault you, and you can't tell when it's going to happen or what's going to happen, and that's why it's so realistic. So yeah, it gets your heart rate pumping a little bit.
I'm Emily Baker with Arlington Public News.
Very good use of technology there by the police. Well, now that summer is in full swing, you may have seen more coyotes, foxes, or other wildlife out and about. APN's Christina Guessford spoke to Arlington's animal control officer to find out how to stay safe around wildlife this season.
I'm Christina Guessford here at McLennan Park with Katie Kozakowski. She is the animal control officer for Arlington, and she's going to give us some tips on how to deal with wildlife this summer.
So my role as animal control officer is to make sure public safety obviously is the main thing that I want to focus on. So with people with wildlife, people with their domestic animals, making sure everybody's kind of interacting safely and knows what to stay away from, what to kind of call animal control for, to safely keep the dogs on leash, and how they should care for their animals too. So there are definitely a couple of coyotes that live in Arlington. Usually people will call me because they see them out during the daytime and they're nervous for their kids or their cats or their small dogs too. This is kind of like the time of the year where they have pups, so they are going to be out a little bit more during the daytime. They are going to be looking for food or teaching their pups how to hunt as well, so you might see them kind of out a little bit more than you usually would. If you encounter a coyote, if it's not bothering you, ignore it. I wouldn't go anywhere near it. If you have a coyote in your yard that keeps coming closer and he doesn't seem like he's sick or injured or anything like that, you can haze them. I would always look up proper hazing techniques either online or talk to somebody who's a coyote professional before you end up going to haze a coyote and you're not really sure exactly what to do. But usually, in the most part, I would say try and avoid wildlife. If they look injured or sick or anything like that, definitely call the police right away, especially if it's coming at you or you feel your life is in danger. You want to call 911 immediately so we can send somebody out. But otherwise, if they're just kind of wandering around, they're probably looking for food or probably looking for a place to sleep too. So the best thing is to kind of just avoid contact with them and let them go on their way if they're just kind of moseying along. So with rabies, I mean, it's definitely something you always want to keep in mind. That's why you should never approach a wild animal or raccoon or any mammal. Mammals are the ones that can carry rabies. So there's kind of a couple different signs that you can look out for signs of rabies. So dumb rabies is kind of like an animal who's walking in circles or is acting like dumb, I guess you would say. That's why they call it that. Aggressive rabies is an animal that's going to come at you. So drooling a lot, that's why they say foaming at the mouth. You're going to see a lot of drool coming out. Anything like that, you want to stay away from them. If the animal just kind of like walks out in front of you and doesn't seem to notice you, you can make some loud noises and hopefully it'll get scared away. Usually, like I said, they're not going to come at you, so you can turn around, just walk the other way if it seems to be right directly in your path. If the animal looks like it's hissing at you or kind of standing up and acting more ferocious but not coming at you, it could be because he does feel cornered, and just get out of there pretty quickly. Usually they're not going to chase you unless there's something wrong with them or if they're defending their young as well. I'm Katie Kozakowski with Arlington Animal Control. You can reach me through email at animalcontrol@town.arlington.ma.us or give a call at 781-645-8014.
So thank you, Katie, so much for spending this time with us. I'm Christina Gassford. Let's have a great summer and coexist with the animals. Back to Arlington Public News.
You know, it's not coyotes and foxes for me, but I have noticed that there's just more wildlife that I hadn't seen kind of regularly around town these days. Bunnies, chipmunks, things like that.
Tons of bunnies. And you know what? I love the chipmunks. I adore, but there are so many. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 bunnies around my yard, and we have probably we had one chipmunk that I noticed last year. We have like 3 or 4 of those too. It's very cute.
Yeah, things are changing.
Yes, they are.
Up next on APN, after taking the lead on making town streets more bicycle and pedestrian friendly, the town gets help from the state.
And on that note, a survey puts Arlington at the top of the list for walkability. Could you get around without a car? We hear from residents next.
We invite you, your family, and friends to the 40th Arlington Town Day on Saturday, September 17th. Do your part to make this a celebration to remember. To learn about tax-deductible Town Day sponsorship opportunities, go to arlingtonma.gov/Town Day. Thank you for your continued support of Arlington Town Day.
Welcome back to APN. With more cars on our streets each year, transportation planners have suggested that the answer is not to build more roads, but rather to encourage people to drive less. Here's a look at what's being done in Arlington.
Arlington recently announced its adoption of the Complete Streets policy. I'm here at the Town Hall to learn more about the policy with Laura Weiner from the Planning Commission and Michael Rademacher from Public Works.
A complete street is a street that that serves all users equally, that is good for and comfortable and safe for pedestrians, bike riders, drivers, and transit users primarily.
The Complete Street policy that basically says the town is committed when we create new projects that we evaluate all users. And that would include bike racks, bump outs at crosswalks, so better signage, better transit stops, bus shelters and racks and whatnot. But there are no plans on paper right now for like a Complete Streets project. It's more of a written policy.
Before Arlington adopted Complete Streets, the town could not receive any funding for Mass Ave Phase 1 construction, although the project met the Complete Streets standards. But now the town hopes to obtain funds for Mass Ave Phase 2.
Up to $400,000 per city or town can be awarded if that town has a Complete Streets project ready to be built. So there is state funding available. But for the Phase 2 project, we don't yet have dedicated funding.
Mass Ave Phase 2 not only intends to make Mass Ave safer for walkers and bikers, but also promises to give the center of town a facelift and make it more vibrant.
This second phase is probably more of a streetscape and a cosmetic project than it is an operational project, with the exception of hopefully getting bicycle facilities and probably better pedestrian accommodations, but you probably will not see a huge vehicle operation change in this phase. It's really, like I said, it's going to be geared towards pedestrian travel through there, better sidewalk conditions, lighting conditions, and hopefully better bicycle accommodations.
Broadway Plaza could really be a center of town with entertainment and sidewalk dining and just more of a meeting place for people, and so that's also one of our goals for the project.
What do the residents of Arlington think about the future of Arlington's roads and the Broadway Plaza revamp?
If they could add like Wi-Fi spots, but yeah, I don't know if towns usually do that. I think that would be an interesting thing in moving forward, though.
They need a light or something similar to what they have at Mill Street. At Mill Street, there's a flashing light that tells cars that a bike or pedestrian is approaching that intersection.
I think the designated bike lanes are a good start.
I would say redoing the sidewalks because the bricks are really difficult to walk on. I hear people say that all the time, they're twisting their ankles, so if they could redo the sidewalks, maybe that might make it a little bit more walker friendly as well.
The brick sidewalks and other improvements are still being discussed. The next Mass Ave Phase 2 public forum is scheduled for the fall. I'm Shah Sajadi for Arlington Public News.
In a recent study by FindTheHome.com, Arlington was ranked as one of the most walkable towns in Middlesex County. This begs the question, how would citizens get around Arlington if they did not have a car? APN took this question to the streets in this week's You Speak.
Arlington is one of the most walkable towns in Middlesex County. That's according to a new report by online real estate analytics firm FindTheHome.com. Now, it's no question that many Arlingtonians rely on cars to get around, but in such a walkable town, would they be willing to change their ways? We hit the streets to find out.
Well, I actually have not had a car for about 10 years, and I've never had a problem at all. The bus system and the T are awesome, and even here in Arlington, you can get up and down Mass Ave really easily, walking and biking. It's awesome.
Here in Arlington, a good way would be the bike path. You could probably travel the bike path by foot and cut in onto Mass Ave a lot, or of course the T, or bicycle, because they have the bike lanes now. So I think that would probably be the best alternative.
Definitely need our car. We actually have 2 cars, so. But I live in the suburbs, so transit is not as accessible as folks that live right in the city. I think if we live right in the city, it'd be a lot easier, but in the burbs, it's tougher.
We just moved here from San Francisco where you can walk everywhere, and the public transportation there is very helpful, so I'm really open to learning more here, and hearing that it's the most walkable city, I'm really excited to check things out.
With abundant public transportation and the renowned Minuteman bike path, it's no wonder so many Arlingtonians would feel comfortable going without a car if they had to. Still, given the choice, many opt to drive. For Arlington Public News, I'm Zach Merchant.
What do you think, Carla? Could you get along without a car in Arlington?
Sometimes I'm forced to. I share my car with 3 other people in the house. I live off of Highland Avenue, and it is a big hill, so when I am forced to give up my car, I tend to walk.
I understand. I biked for many years between Arlington and Boston for my job, and it was a great thing to do, except for the hills greeting me on my way back every day.
Can't do them.
After the break, a look at what's happening around town for the month of July in our Arts and Entertainment Guide. Harry Potter, anyone?
Plus, you may have noticed more people than usual wandering around Arlington staring at their phones. We'll tell you about the hot new app they are looking at next. Stay with us.
Are you crafty? Want to share your talents with the town? The Arlington Town Day Committee is looking for you. Join us Saturday, September 17th for the 40th Arlington Town Day. For a booth application or more information, visit the town website at arlingtonma.gov/townday.
Well, we're sure you've heard about Pokemon GO mania, and Arlington is not immune. In fact, Arlington's Recreation Department recently capitalized on the popularity of the phone app with a walk around the reservoir to try to catch 'em all. APN was there as well to chronicle the fun.
I'm Christina Gassford here at the Arlington Reservoir Beach, where the Pokemon GO craze that's sweeping the nation has officially hit the town of Arlington. More than 24 Arlington residents of all ages set out on a Pokewalk along the perimeter of the reservoir to hunt virtual exotic creatures called Pokemon.
Drive around town at 8 o'clock at night, everyone is playing. So I was like, well, let's do something for everyone who's playing. These are people we don't usually get in our rec programs. We usually get little kids, sports. So we're involving more people in our community, which is really nice.
Since Pokemon GO's release on July 6th, the multiplayer app has precipitated a global phenomenon and has already been deemed the hottest mobile game ever. The game uses a phone's GPS to turn the user's real geographic location into a magical Pokemon and Pokemon trainer inhabited world.
I have gotten Eevee, Weedle, Staryu, and Charmander. You can sometimes do it with friends, and then so you could all find Pokemon and everyone can try and catch it.
Me and my family can get out and go to different places and find the cool Pokestops and they're very interesting landmarks and go to places that our family could never expect that we'd be near.
Many physical landmarks that you walk by every day, like Ringe Park or the Reservoir, are important destinations in the app called Pokestops. The idea is to motivate players to navigate the real world using augmented reality.
You spin these wheel things and you get something from them. You're supposed to get weird potions or like this cool gem thing or just Pokeballs.
Born and raised in Arlington, I know what's in Arlington, but he didn't know half the historical sites that he walks by every single day.
Does he know about Paul Revere?
Yes, now he knows about Paul Revere, but now he can see some of these sites firsthand.
The original handheld games took the world by storm in the late 1990s, so Pokemania's revival is fueled by those now adult fans' nostalgia, connecting individuals of all ages.
We get to see the next generation enjoying a game that we enjoyed as kids. I was just commenting, the kids walking with phones looked like us when we were, holding Game Boys.
Yeah, there's a gym over there. I was in control of it about 10 minutes ago, and then some middle schoolers came by, so I'm going to sneak back at night and get it.
Because the character or trainer moves in the game as one walks around in real life, the player must actually travel to that location. This aspect has spurred some universal concerns, but Arlington residents are confident in the benefits.
There's a lot of people who really are into games and electronics like these two boys, and now they're more amped to go outside and actually be outside even if they're kind of halfway on a screen.
I think once the Pokemon Plus wristwatch thing comes out, where you don't have to look at your phone the whole time, that's going to be like a big plus for this. Because right now, you're right, everyone is just looking at their phones, going around like, oh, hey, look, a Magikarp. But then you'll be able to walk around, just have the phone in your pocket, and it'll alert you. And you'll do a little bit more exploring.
They saw a complete stranger on the street, a younger kid with his mom, and they started talking to him, and they're talking to other friends, and they're normally shy kids. As long as you monitor them and watch them, make sure that we put phones down when we cross streets and step off curbs, and we stay with them the whole time, so it's not like there's a stranger danger. It's no different than walking down the street.
While players are encouraged to take precaution while playing the game, today's event was unanimously fun for all. And it was such a success that more Pokewalks are likely to take place in the near future. For Arlington Public News, I'm Christina Gassford.
Arts and entertainment continue to flourish during the summer, and we have the details on some top picks here in Arlington. APN's Kayla Chiara takes it from here.
Do you want to become more tech savvy? On July 28th, from 3 to 4 p.m., the Robbins Library will be hosting Appy Hour, where library members are encouraged to bring an electronic device, a library card, and a can-do attitude to get connected with the library's digital content. Contact Maura Didi for more information. In the Robbins Library Community Room, the Arlington International Film Festival is screening Angkor's Children, a film that reflects upon the Khmer Rouge genocide through the eyes of young Cambodian women. The screening begins at 7 p.m. and will run until 8:30. Contact Arlington Film Fest for more information. Want to relive the magic of Harry Potter? The Robbins Library is showing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on July 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. A popcorn treat is included. Pick up a free ticket half an hour prior to the show. Contact Children's Services for more information. Ben Rudnick performs on August 4th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. for the Concert on the Lawn series. Join Ben and other music lovers to enjoy a fusion of country, bluegrass, rock, and more. The concert welcomes families and kids of all ages. No ticket is required. The wait is over. On July 30th, in collaboration with Bookends, the Regent Theater hosts a midnight release party for J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Come dressed up as your favorite character to celebrate the new story alongside many other excited wizards. Tickets are $10 each or 4 for $30. Pre-order ahead of time, pay $18, and the book can be picked up on Sunday, July 31st, or anytime thereafter. From August 4th to August 7th, Arlington Children's Theater is proud to present 2 new performances, Guys and Dolls and Anything Goes. Seating is reserved and tickets are $15 each. For more information, check out the Regent Theater's website. I'm Kayla Chiara, here with Arlington Public News.
Harry Potter is everywhere still.
Yeah, oh, you know what? The shop is right across the street, and all the people have been lining up getting their tickets. I know my daughter's excited, and she's going to the little reception.
Yeah, it's midnight at the book rack, right?
I'm going to try to stay up late and just see what happens, but I can't promise.
Can never get enough Harry Potter, obviously.
They're the great books.
Thank you for joining us on Arlington Public News as we explore events and issues affecting Arlington. Check out extended interviews and our latest segments on the web at news.acmi.tv.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Arlington Public.
I'm James Milan.
And I'm Carla Dorado. Thanks for joining us.